Hi guys, it's Blackie and welcome back to the channel. Okay, what I'm doing today is I'm starting a new playlist. I've had quite a few of you going through my playlist and Dave's and a lot of others and looking for knots, things like the bushcraft zip tie, the twist tie, the toggle locks, all of that, and I keep being just bombarded with, Blackie, where's the video for such and such? Where's the video for such? And it's all about the knots. And several of you said, could you please create a playlist of just the knots and stuff like that? And so that's what this is about. I'm going to create a playlist that I'm going to put the knots in. And in any future endeavors where I'm showing some new way or whatever to create a knot or some other piece of cord, trick, dingle, whatever to use in camp, I will put it on that as well as whatever else it should go in. So if I'm doing a trick that goes into ground pounder series, but it's about how to take 550 paracord and do whatever, I will also put it into the knots and cordage. So the name of this playlist is going to be Knots and Cordage. Knots and Cordage reference or something like that. But that's what it's going to be. And so what we're going to do today is I'm going to start out with the Quick Deploy Ridgeline. Now I know there's been a ton of videos in the last several weeks about this, and even I have touched a couple of things on it. But I'm going to show you what is right now is the one I'm using and why, okay? Because I've made one or two little twerks to it, and hopefully you'll like it. And kind of really I've gone full circle in a way, because back around 2014, 2015, something like that, I was using a quick deploy Ridgeline, and what I was using for the connection to the tarp was actually I would take 550 paracord and make a prusik knot with a long extra tail on it, and then I'd put a series of knots in that, and I would just simply double it up through a eyelet on a tarp and come over the top with that row of tied knots and stick in there. That was kind of crude, and I admit. So when I got to be doing these toggles and stuff like that, I kind of came full circle back to that idea. So that's what we're going to show today. So this is, as of August of 2023, what Blackie is running for a quick deploy Ridgeline. And for this, you will need 30 feet of paracord. Now, I like to use for my Ridgelines great, big, bright, ugly, whatever, something that attracts attention. You want to use black, green, whatever is perfectly fine. You do you. But I always hank up my Ridgelines to try to make them in some sort of wild color so I can tell at a glance that's a Ridgeline. Even though it's configured, I want to be able to tell that's a Ridgeline as opposed to a regular cord or something like that. You're going to need 4 toggles. Now what I'm using for toggles is, these are big buttons that you get at Walmart or something like that, and they seem to work real well for me. But 4 of those. You're going to need 2 loops of number 36 bank line with a good strong knot on one end, and I just run it through one of the toggles, one of the buttons, and use it like a toggle. I'll show and explain this in a minute. But you need them to be about 8 or so inches long when they're in this configuration. And you're going to need a lighter to burn the end. Now to assemble this line, you're going to take, and on one end of your Ridgeline, you're going to tie a stop knot, just a nice big overhand knot, nice and tight, and then take the lighter and burn it so it's a solid piece and not going to come undone. On the other end, we're going to put a toggle in, just like that, and then we're going to put a second toggle in, just like this. Okay? Now I'm going to tie an overhand knot, which is simply hold it in your hand, wrap it around your finger, that forms a loop, see, sweaty hands, Go back through that loop, just like that. Now pull that nice and tight. Okay. Take your fingernails and actually hook the knot and pull down on it. Okay, that's nice and tight. Now I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to slice it off very close. Just like that. Now take your lighter and burn it. Rotate it as you do. We don't want to melt it so much as just sear it real good. Takes about that long. Now don't grab a hold of it for a second or two, let it cool off. What you've done is made that nylon molten and it sticks to itself so it does not untie. Alright, that should be close enough. Now let's go over to the tree and we'll start setting up and we'll put on our other two toggles. Alright, all I'm going to do is just open up my two pre-made up number 36 bank line loops with a toggle on in, put it over my wrist. I'm going to take that end that I just tied that knot on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a bowline right quick. Now all a bowline is going to be is this. Why do we use a bowline? It's because even if it won't close up under tension, and then once it has been under tension, it's fairly easy to untie it if we need to later on. So we're going to take a length, pretty good bit. We're going to come up here and we're going to pinch the cord. We're going to roll it uphill. See how it makes that little loop? Again, pinch it, roll it uphill, make that little loop. Now I'm going to take this end, I'm going to come through that hole, going to go around the back side of that line and go back down into that hole. Pinch the line, come up, come out of the hole, come around the line, go back into the hole. Once it's in the hole, I'm going to come in, I'm going to pinch it, and I'm going to take this in and pull, and that in and pull. Just like that. And that creates that bowline. Now how big a bowline? In the past I said one huge enough that the whole thing would go over. But for right now, since I can adjust this later on if I want to, I'm just going to rock it and pull it down. And I wanted something about that size, like 3 or 4 fingers through. And that's about it. Easy for me to attach another line to it, but at the same time it'd be something that's not so big it's going to hook on everything when it's rolled up. Okay? And then there are the two toggles. Now, I put that quick thing there just to keep those toggles from running to the far end. Now, let me focus in on the tree a little bit better. Just like this. Okay, now how we're going to attach is we're going to take that first toggle right there. And what you're going to do is you're going to come around the tree with this loop. And then when you get around to this side close, you're going to pull it up. And you're going to take the line, you're going to double it in half like that. And you're going to sit it inside that loop. And then that's going to pull and cinch up to lock it. Okay? So here I am at the tree. I'm going to come around the tree. I'm going to run me out so I'm close. Take the pinch, put it through that loop, and then I'm going to pull, and it will cinch up nice and tight, just like that. To get it off, all I got to do is grab that toggle and pull. If I need to get it off and just drop it, I can pull it and twist it and go between that loop and take it off. Okay? So, that's the basics of that. Now let me go to the other end and I'll show you how we're going to do it. Now as I walk this way, I grab that other toggle and I just pull it with me till I get to the tree. Turn that just a little bit more. There we go. Get to the tree. Now when I get to the tree, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around the tree, just like this. And I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that toggle. Okay, my line's just looped around the tree now. I come up to this toggle, and what I'm going to do, see it's just free floating. I'm going to take the line and I'm going to go around it one time. Okay, just like that. Now, I'm going to, again, I'm going to take the line, I'm going to loop it around it, just like that, and I'm going to take this end, I'm going to point it uphill. Now I'm going to take my other line, and I'm going to hook coming from underneath over the top, and that's made my puller. I'm going to hold this so it's just going to flip. If I let go of it, it's going to flip around. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, and I'm now going to pull, and see how it's sawing against itself? Just like that. Turn that a little bit more. I'm just holding it loosely here. I pull it up good and tight. And then what I'm going to do is I hook under that side, pull it tight, go back over it one more time, pull it tight, just like that. I'm going to come in front of it and I'm just going to put a half hitch, just like that. Tight ridge line. Now this V right here, that's where all the extra cord is going to go, just like that. To take it off, all I got to do is pull the loop, boom, and see it stays by itself because of that wrapping action. Now unwrap, poof, it's off the tree. Once again, I'm going to take it, I'm going to wrap it underneath one time. I'm then going to come from the bottom going up, just like that. I'm going to pull it really tight, keeping this thing from spinning around. And then once I get it to where I want it, just like that, I'm going to hook it underneath, go back over the top, come back under again, pull it tight, and then I'm going to put a half hitch right there. Take that excess cord, roll it up, stick it right there. You're good to go. So now I got a nice tight ridge line. Okay, now coming to the line, I'm going to take my Prusik loops that have the knot on one end and it's got that toggle. Now notice that toggle will just slide up and down right there. So I'm going to toggle at the very bottom. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to open this up and I'm going to make an opening right here. And I'm going to take this toggle and go through it 3 times. 1, pull down, 2, pull down, 3, pull down. And then I'm going to kind of dress that up. Saw back and forth and let that pull down tight. And that makes the Prusik loop. Now I can slide this to wherever I want on the line, but when I put tension on it, it locks. But I can just twist it and it'll slide again. So that's the idea. And no, nobody's shooting at me. I'm behind the shooting range again. I'm going to put both of these on here right quick. Once again, pull it up here, hold it against the line from the back side, make this opening, go through once, twice, 3 times, just like that, and then kind of dress it down, going left to right, pulling on the individual cords until it slides down and bites. Now I can slide it. Now let me show you how these attach a tarp. Okay, here's a tarp with a grommet. I take this loop, I slide the toggle down out of the way, I take the loop, and I come up through the grommet. Okay, see that? It just went through the hole. Now open it up, and just like putting on a button, I hook on and slide it down. That's attached, and that toggle can't come off. But now to get it off, all I gotta do when I slack it is pull, and it will come right up and out, and I can just go doop, doop, and right off. This cord, being number 36 bank line, is small enough I can pinch it up and even go through the small eyes on like one of those reusable space blankets easily. And at the same time, with this loop, I can hook to things that's got ties. Any kind of tarp that's got some sort of grommet or some sort of attachment system, this will easily adopt to it, to hook to it. So I just go, again, I slide my toggle up, I take the loop, I go through the grommet, open it up, come over the top and button that toggle in place, and that's it. Then I slide it back. Now, with this end attached, I can just slide it down here to wherever I want. I come to the other end, I do the same thing. I just make the loop, go through, come over the top, and put the toggle in. Now I pull it this way. And by pulling the two lines in opposite directions, we tighten it up so we can set up a tarp quickly. I can also, due to the fact that it's on both ends of the prusik, I can simply slide my tarp by slacking this end and pulling the other side tight. I can slide my tarp one way or another. So let's say I want to take it and move it to this way, another 2 inches. All I have to do is get up here and take this side and slide it so it's just a little slick. Grab this side and pull it this way. I can adjust. I can put a center one in if I want it, very simply by just adding a grommet here or any other little quick tie in the middle if it's multiple grommets across the front of a long tarp. Very simple, very easy. Now let me show you how to hank it up once you take it down. And all I got to do is just slack one corner, lift up and unbutton. Go to the other end, do the same thing, unbutton. Okay, once I've got my tarp off, I grab my prusik on that side and I'm going to slide it. Now sometimes this stuff gets a little sticky. Grab that knot we left on the top and just pull up on it and you can slack it so it'll slide real easy. That's the reason we leave the knot on the top, so we can grab it and just lift straight up and it will kind of uncoil it and let it fast and easy run. When we go to this side, pull out that grommet, pull out that loop, unhook, pull it off there, take our toggle and slide it back up to the tree. When we get to the tree, we just slack it and pull it off the tree. That's it. Super simple. Now, let's hank it up. What we're going to do is we're going to put and slide all the connections to the front end. So there is my loop. There is my first toggle. There are my two on the bank line and my last one. Okay. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to fold it and start hanking it up in my hand, just like this. And all I'm doing is just grabbing, lifting up, grabbing the loop, keeping the length of the loop about the same size, making the loop at the top about the same size. And I'm just going to do it like this. Up, down, real quick. Scoot it a little tighter in the hand if it starts to bind up. Now when I get down to about 4 or 5 feet hanging off of it, that's when I'm going to come up here to the top. I'm going to roll it, so I got a loop, put the loop over the end, and I'm going to pull it up there fairly snug, just like that. And then I'm going to wind the cord around it, just like this. Coming back up toward the other end. And when I get up here at the end of it and give the whole thing a good torque, I'm going to take that loose end right there and one of these loops right here, I'm going to stick it up through the middle of that, like 2 of them, just like that, and give it a little tug. It'll stay there. Now I've got my other end, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down snug against the whole roll using those 2 toggles, and I'm going to take my loop and go in opposite directions. So that whenever I come over the top, the last thing I do, say I took that's my bowline, I come around this side and I take my toggle and I button my toggle through that loop. Just like that. So there are all my toggles, all my connections. All I got to do is unbutton in front of there and I can pull it and it'll just pull right out of that hank because it's just back and forth, see? All the way to the end. And that is a quick deploy Ridgeline. Please put any comments or questions you have down in the comment box. I'll be glad to help you as best as I can and answer as many questions as I can. Now I know there's been 1,000 videos made about quick deploy Ridgeline. There's a reason. It's one of the best pieces of kit you got. One, it's a large hunk of immediate grab cordage that you know is a given length and what its given properties are. Two, by doing it this way and using that bowline in the end of it, I can take it and hook it to a tree in several different ways, either by using the toggle or putting a marline spike hitch up there, or by going over the top, going around and looping it 3 times and doing a timber hitch if I wanted just a snatch and drop it connection. So it gives me a lot of things. Plus, in a dire consequence, I can untie that bowline and slide all my toggles right off the end of it and just have a 30-foot length of line if I need a clean line with nothing that can snag up. I've got all that available, all in a 30-foot quick deploy Ridgeline. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. Till next time, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.